Administering authorization rights in an application can be quite a chore. Authorization Hub is built to make it easier. So let's take a look at the user interface so you can learn how to leverage your organizational tree to enforce application security and make managing security as easy as possible. For today's example, let's imagine we have a website that sells plants. Let's just call it Acme Plants. I'm going to create organizations to represent the different departments that will interact with the application. Now here's some of the authorization rules that we'll need to enforce. There is a department of gardeners that can update inventory and ship orders. The sales department, they can create orders, but senior salespeople can actually adjust prices as well. The manager of the sales department can expedite orders, and accounting can send invoices and apply payments. The CFO can write off invoices. Now with those rules in mind, let's start building an organizational tree for Acme Plants. All right, so now it's time to go ahead and start creating the root for the organizational tree, which is going to be a tenant. So I can click on the drop-down box in the Add button, choose Tenant, and click Add. And now I can go ahead and enter the information for Acme Plants. All right, so now that I've got the information entered, I can go ahead and click Save. And you'll see here in the tree view, it'll display the tenant, Acme Plants, and this is the root. So now we can go ahead and create a organization for our sales department. And we're just going to call it sales, but for the description, we'll just put something a little more descriptive and put sales department. All right, if you had an external system and you wanted to have a way to synchronize members, you could put an external ID in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 12345 for now and click Save. Now, I want this sales department, this organization, to be part of Acme Plants. So I'm going to add a relationship, and as soon as I click on the display name, it's going to bring up a list of other organizations. In this case, it'll be one of the tenants. So I'll just go ahead and choose Acme Plants. It'll display it as a tenant, and it'll put in a start date of today, and you could fill in a to date if you wanted to, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave that it is and click the Save button. So now in our tree view here, I can see Acme Plants and the sales department is part of it. All right, so let's go ahead now and create a role, because we need a role for that group of people that are known as senior salespeople. So here I'll go ahead and put in a title. And I'll go ahead and put the same description in. All right, and then I can save. And I want these senior salespeople to be part of the sales department. So I'm going to go ahead and add a relationship. And now when I click on display name, you'll see there are two options, but I'm just going to go ahead and choose sales because I want them to flow up to the sales group. And save. All right, so we have one other role that we're going to want to create, and that is for the sales manager. So it's already on roll here. I'm just going to go ahead and click Add, and now I can do sales manager. And for completeness, I'll just put in a description, and we'll save that. All right, we also want to make that role part of the sales department. So we'll go ahead and choose sales and click Save. And now when I expand it out, you can see we have the sales manager's role and the senior salespeople role are underneath sales. Okay, now we have another organization that we needed to create based off of our requirements, and that is for the accounting department. And so I'm going to go ahead and add a description here. All right, and I will save. All right, so now we'll add a relationship, and we're going to put this one in the organizational tree as well. But in this case, we're going to attach them to Acme Plants and save. And now you can see we've got an accounting department. Now, currently, we've only got one role specified for the accounting department. So we'll go ahead and add in that person. That is the CFO. or the Chief Financial Officer. All right, and we can save, and let's go ahead and make this role a part of accounting. And we'll save. All right, so now we've created enough roles for our requirements, and we're all set to go ahead and start adding in some people. So I'm going to go ahead and change to a person, add a new person, and the first one we're going to add is Melissa Smith. Okay, now if I try to save this, I'm going to get an error because users or people that are in the system need to have an external ID that links them to their user account. In this case, I'm just going to put 123, but normally you would probably get this a GUID from the ASP.NET users table or wherever you're pulling that from. And we're going to go ahead and save. And let's put Melissa Smith in as a senior salesperson. All right, and we'll save that one. All right, we got one more person to add here, for right now at least, and that would be Daniel Jones. And we will give him a number. We'll save it. And we're going to add a relationship, and in this case, it's going to be with the sales department. So he's just going to be a salesperson. All right, so let's pause for a moment and look at what we've created. We have a user named Daniel Jones, and we want to know what claims this person has. So I can click on the claims button, and it will display all the claims that this person will get when they log into the system, and they make a request. So let's take a look and see what was added here. So the first one here is a organizational membership with the sales department because Daniel is part of the sales department. So there'll be a claim, and the value on that claim is literally the name of the organization, sales. The sales department has an external ID, and so there is another claim for the org's external ID of 12345. That's coming from the sales department. And the org ID, which is 2, that is the org ID for the sales department. So there's 3 different ways you could reference that via a claim. Now, because this is an organizational tree, Daniel is a part of sales as well as Acme Plants. That's the tenant. And so here we have 2 more claims. One is for a group called Acme Plants, that's the tenant, and one is an organizational ID of 1. That's the one that's assigned to Acme Plants. Now you'll see there's no org external ID for this because we didn't give Acme Plants an external ID, so it doesn't generate one for Daniel. Now let's take a look at the senior sales group or the senior sales role, and here you can see we've got Melissa Smith. Now if we look at Melissa's claims, we're going to see a few more. She has one for Acme Plants and she has one for the sales department, but she also has a role ID, and this is for the senior sales role, as well as a role claim for senior sales. So that's the great part about having an organizational tree. You don't have to create and you don't have to maintain or manage all those relationships with the entities above it. So it's a great time saver, and it's one of the big advantages of Authorization Hub. Okay, there's one group that I forgot, and that is the organization for the gardeners. All right, and so we'll go ahead and save that. And let's add a relationship for the gardeners. We'll make them part of Acme Plants, and we'll save that. All right, so these are all of the organizations and the roles that we're going to need for our requirements. All right, so we've got those all taken care of. Now, let's take a look at a few of the different features of Authorization Hub. Now there is an options button here, and you can choose whether you want to use a light theme or if you want to use the dark theme. As we add more options, we'll go ahead and add them to this panel. But really one of the great features here is this advanced search bar. The advanced search bar lets you search through all of the different tenants, organizations, roles, and people in the database. And so we have a person named Melissa. If I wanted to just go find Melissa, it'd be real simple just to type in part of her name and it'll come back with a result. And that's typical of what you would expect from a search tool. But there are some nice filters that can come in really handy. So one of the things you can do is to filter on people, orgs, roles, or tenants. So now if I do the search, I'll come back with nothing because I'm filtering everything out. If I put people back in and I do the search again, now I find Melissa. All right, so let's try something a little different. Let's go ahead and search for an organization. And in this case, let's search for the sales organization. There it is. And you'll see in parentheses, it says Acme Plants. That's just telling you that that organization is part of the Acme Plants organizational tree. If you were in a multi-tenant scenario, you'd want to be able to know which tenants that the sales department is part of. All right, so what I can do is I can actually add this organization as a filter. And so now I can remove the orgs, add people, and I can put in, let's say a letter J, search, and it will search through all of the members of sales who are people and their name begins with a J. So this is a really powerful tool if you want to search through groups and you have a group with thousands of people. It makes it a little bit easier to narrow down your results. So really powerful searching features built in here. I think that they will be a real benefit to you as you try to administer a system. Another amazing feature about Authorization Hub is that the relationships between entities have a from and a to date. And this is a great help for administrators because if Daniel Jones was leaving the organization, let's say he's resigning from his position, I can go ahead and I can click on that edit button and I could say Daniel is leaving on the 12th at 5:30 p.m. and I can save that. That means that when Friday rolls around, the system will stop adding claims for Daniel Jones' account at 5:30 p.m. I, as an administrator, don't need to hang out and wait till 5:30 and then remove access after Daniel leaves. I can have the system pre-programmed and ready to do that for me. That takes a big burden off you. All right, there's another feature in this vein that I think come in really handy, and that is when you have accounts that you need to administer that are in different time zones. So let's say Daniel Jones works in Los Angeles, which is on Pacific time, but I'm in Chicago. So I'm thinking when someone says they're leaving at 5:30, I'm thinking Chicago time. I don't want to actually have to do the math and count the time zones to change it. What I really want to do is be able to go up here to this time zone and I want to select Los Angeles. All right, so now all of these times that are represented are going to be represented in Pacific time. So I can just go here and edit it, and because I know that Daniel is leaving the job at 5:30 Pacific time, I can go ahead and choose 5:30 p.m. and click OK and save. Awesome. Now it's going to take his rights away 5:30 Pacific time. And if I switch this back to Chicago, you'll notice that the time actually changes to 7:30 p.m. That's because the application believes it's in Chicago time in Central. So great feature if you have accounts that are going to be in different time zones that you need to manage. I hope this has given you a sense of how easy it is to administer Authorization Hub and given you a glimpse at how organizational trees can be leveraged in your application's authorization rules. Now we're not done with Acme Plants. We'll have more videos to come to show you best practices for implementing authorization policies and using Authorization Hub with different types of web applications. If you have any questions and you want to learn more about Authorization Hub, please feel free to send us an email or reach out on Discord. The links will be down below.